So I just barely got back from the UK. It was so much fun over there. Amazing group of leaders over there. So much fun. That market is one of my favorites. Obviously, hard not to when I lived over there for a little while. It's hard to not have favorites, right? All the markets are amazing here at Benny. But anyway, one of the things that we did at that market was at the very end of the day, Super Saturday regional event that we had there, was we did a little training and we talked about 2 numbers that we needed to focus on to help our businesses grow. And I think spelling that out, and I'm going to do this for you on the whiteboard, that's why this Zoom is a little bit different. I think spelling it out and showing people truly how simple the business is makes it a little bit easier. Now, I don't want to oversimplify, going out there and putting your hopes and dreams and passions and reputation on the line each and every day, representing this brand and these products as being simple, because it's not, right? If it was simple, everybody could do it. But really, I think sometimes we overcomplicate it when we start looking at the numbers and trying to understand what are those numbers and how do those numbers work and how does the compensation plan work and what do I do, how many contacts, how many samples, how many parties, how many retail accounts do I set up, and all of these things. Sometimes a confused mind says no, so therefore we don't do anything. We just stop and we don't do anything in our businesses. And so a couple of things that I want to touch on tonight before I get into those 2 numbers is that every month we're going to be focusing on 3 promos: product promo, business building promo, and customer promos. Those are things that we're going to be working on so that there can be a little bit of a cadence. And as we roll those out, sometimes you might see a promo and you might think, oh, that's perfect. That's exactly what I've been looking for. That's going to help my business grow. I'm so excited. And you get behind it and you go out and share it. Or we'll roll out a promo or something. You might look at it and say, that one's not really for me. And so you pull back and you don't share that with your customers or your team or anybody else. But when you stop and think about it, everybody's life and everybody as an individual is completely different. And thus, everybody's businesses are different. And there's different times in our life that things mean things differently to us. So you might think that that product promo might not be for you, but as you share it with your customers and you share it with your team, what you're going to see is that other people find that it's exactly what they needed to either make a product purchase as a customer, or it's exactly what they needed to help their business grow. So it's important as we share some of these promos, as we get into these 2 numbers tonight, that you go through and share all of those with your customers and team. Even though those might not be for you, you never know. Plus, the other thing that I think is important is that you know your customers, right? You know exactly what they're ordering, you know exactly what they want, all of those things. But as you jump into those things, they may not want those things, right? But when I'm talking about those promotions, but it gives you an excuse to reach out to those customers. A lot of times as well in this industry, we find it hard to go back to our existing customers or our current active associates or even our current associates that aren't active and share something with them unless it's brand new, right? Like we just rolled out the new BU product. It's amazing. It's life-changing. We're already seeing incredible testimonials coming back from this product. And yeah, it's just barely been shipping, but we've had samples out there and so on and so forth. The stories that are coming back are so impactful and they're amazing, right? So there's a brand new product for people to be out there talking about it and sharing it and doing those things. And because of that, we see growth in our businesses, right? Like I want to give a shout out to Joe Melling and his entire organization. They've had 47 new associates since April 1st join their team, which is fabulous. Congratulations. So excited about that. But when we stop and think about it, it's like, oh, it has to be brand new in order for me to go out and share it. If it's not brand new, then I'm not going to go out and share it. Well, these promotions and different things that we're doing gives you an excuse to go back and talk to those people. It doesn't have to be a brand new product. And here's a perfect example. Again, I'm going to share another story from the UK, and I love being out on the road with our amazing associates because I hear new stories and new testimonials and new things, which is so exciting. right? I absolutely love and adore that. So Nick Wright, who I absolutely love, she's one of our amazing leaders. She's on our UK task force in the UK. She lives in right near the White Cliffs of Dover in the UK. So that would be the southwest, I'm guessing the southwest of the UK. And she shared a story the other day when we were in our leaders meeting over in the UK. And she said that I went and I went to a party, had a brand new host, brand new customers, people that I'd never been in front of before. Now the products, the lacquer, not lacquer strips, but the nail wraps have been available in the UK for 3 years. So some people look at that and they say, well, you know, the market's saturated, everybody already knows about the nail wraps and so on and so forth. And yet when she went and did that party, every person, including the host, bought wraps, and they were so excited because it was the first time that they'd ever heard of them. And it was a great reminder for her. It was a great reminder for me. And I think it's a great reminder for each and every one of you watching this video, is that these products, even though they're second nature to us, right? Like I take Core twice a day. I'm on the gut health products. I'm taking BU products. You know, my wife and daughters the other night, before we left to go to the UK, they all did a nail party. They were doing lacquer strips, they were doing wraps, and they were doing gels before we left to go to the UK. And, you know, those things, even though they're like old news to us, even though we consume them and make them a part of our daily lives, the brand new person, the brand new associate, or the brand new customer has never experienced these products before. They've never even heard of them before. Maybe they've heard of them, but they've never had an opportunity to be presented with them. And so it's just a refresher or a fresh reminder to each and every one of us that to the brand new person, these are brand new. Now, these products, through the Avocet, and Jamboree side, we've sold over $1 billion in total revenue in the last 8 years. But yet, when you stop and look at the customer base and the associate base, we haven't even hit 1% of the population in all of the markets that we're in, that we're open to. So there's huge potential, huge opportunity with all of these products. So I wanted to put that in the back of your mind when I get to talking about these two numbers. These are the main two numbers that I think you should focus on to be successful in this business. And the number is, if I may, is the first number that we want to focus on is the number 500. 500 points, okay? So I'm going to erase that because that doesn't look too good. So I'm going to erase that, start over. That's the great thing about a whiteboard, is we get to do it again. So the first number that we want to talk about is 500 points. The next number that we want to talk about is the number 3, okay? So when we start out, we open our business, whether we've been in business for a while or our business is open or brand new, we're starting out. The two numbers that we want to focus on is 500 and 300. So let me start out with this. I'm going to show you, and here's again another stat from the UK, but the stats are very similar, whether you're in the US, you're in Japan, you're in Canada, you're in Australia, no matter where you're at, these stats ring very true to each and every one of us, okay? So in the UK, it says that 90% of the UK residents are 2 paychecks away from being homeless, okay? Think about it for 1 second. 2 paychecks away from being homeless, meaning that if they had to skip 2 of their paychecks, they would be on the streets because they wouldn't be able to afford to live in their homes, okay? 90%, it's crazy. Right here in the United States, 1 out of 4 homes, even though they're talking about the economy booming and everything, 1 out of every 4 homes in the United States is in threat of is either being foreclosed on or in threat of being foreclosed on. They showed in a stat in 2017 that in the spring of 2017, they said that 90% of Americans could not afford a $400 emergency without the use of a credit card. So, and again, this isn't doom and gloom. We're focusing on these numbers, but before we jump into showing what these two numbers mean to you and your business and potentially your family's lives and your future and your dreams and your goals and all of those wonderful things, before we dive into that, I think it's important for you to understand, what would an additional $400 mean to you and your family this month? What would an additional $500? What would an additional $1,000? What would an additional $1,500 a month mean to you and your family? Like, what could you do? Could you pay your mortgage? Could you pay down your debt? Could you pay off school loans? Could you put food on the table? Could you pay your rent? Could you pay your utility bill? What are the things that you could do? You know, the thing is that so many people are living out of fear, living from check to check. It's hard to dream again. It's hard to be happy. You know, we talk about anxiety, we talk about stress, we talk about some of those mental health challenges that are out there, right? Thank goodness for BU. But we talk about all of those things that are out there. How much of those things, stress, anxiety, relationship issues, how much of those are tied to the stress that we put on financial or money issues, right? So just a lot to think about there. So in your life, before we get into these numbers, what would an additional $500 a month, or what I'm going to show you is, with just 40 people, including you, so you and 39 other people, how you could put an additional $18,000 a year, or an additional $1,400, a little over $1,400 a month, what that would mean to you and your family, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that with just 40 people by focusing on just these three numbers, okay? So when you start out in the business, you open your own retail store and you are open for business, okay? So you open your virtual store. So the first number that we're going to focus on is 500 points. 500 points. You want to sell through your store 500 points, okay? Now, the way that you can do that is that's your personal consumption. You can buy products, get your own personal story. The thing I love about our commission structure is that you do not have to make a personal purchase in order to get a check. I love that about what we're doing. If there's $1 that sells through your store, that could be any of your customers introducing that, or it could be your personal purchases, you're going to get a paycheck no matter what, okay? So when you open your store, you're going to focus on getting 500 points. Now, each of the products have points that are associated with them. On average, that's going to be 75%. The point value is going to be 75% of wholesale. Now, on the wraps, on the nail wraps, they're as high as 90%. On the gut health products, some of those are as low as 70%. So on average, that's going to be about 75% across all of our products, okay? So when you sell 500 points through your store, that includes your personal purchases, customer orders, retail sales. So if you go in and get a retail account, a gym, chiropractor, pharmacy, we have some small pharmacies here in the U.S. that are carrying our products, fundraisers, trade shows and events. You got, online sales, social retail, all of those things, you have the ability. Any of those sales that you generate, any product that is sold as a result of you through your virtual store accumulates points, okay? So in the store, you're going to earn on average between 10 to 30% in the store. At 500 points, that puts you at 20%. So 500 at 20% gives you $100, okay? Now you annualize that, and that is $1,200. Now the one thing that I want to point out here, and this will make more sense as we get to the bottom of this, when we get to the 40th person, what's going to make sense is that you make 100% of the difference between wholesale and retail. So for example, we have one box of sticks is retail is $44.95. Wholesale is $39.95. Okay, so and that has 30 points. Okay, so you get 100% of the difference, so $5 plus you're going to earn the 10 to 30% of the 30 points going through your store. So 100% of the difference between wholesale and retail goes towards that. In this scenario, I'm not computing that. I'm not calculating that to get to where we're talking about. So right now, an additional $100 a month or $1,200 a year by selling just 500 points through your store, okay? Now, when you sit here and you think about that from one perspective is that what would an additional $100 a month mean to you and your family? For some of you might be thinking, you know, I spend that much in a weekend, right? Taking the family out to dinner or something like that. It might not mean a lot, but to a lot of people out there, an extra $100 a month is life-changing, right? Like it pays for their products, or, you know, it can pay for some people's prescriptions, or it can pay down student loans, or there's so many things. $100 a month just through your virtual store at the 20%, okay? Now, if you sell more, that $500 is gonna increase up to 30%. And then, as you know, 1,500 points, anything above 1,500 points, an increment of 500 points, gives you an extra $50 kicker in commissions, okay? Now, there's the first focus of 500 points. The next focus is on 3. How do you get 3 people, right? So how many of you, and this is a question, how many of you know 3 people in your life that can duplicate what you're doing, okay? 3 people that could benefit from the products, 3 people that could benefit from the opportunity, 3 people that could use some more money, 3 people that want to travel on our incentive trips, right? 3 people that want something that Benny U has to offer, and you are the connector. John Maxwell, in his book, Putting Your Dreams to the Test, always says that disappointment is the gap between people's dreams and their reality. It's up to us to be able to create that opportunity for them to replace that, right? To be able to set that up. So we're going to help 3 people open up their stores, okay? And you're going to teach them to do the exact same thing that you're doing, okay? 3 different stores, but you're going to teach them to do the exact same thing. So 3 people at 500 points, just like you, equals 1,500 points, okay? Now, in our commission structure, you're going to earn 10% of the 1,500, so you're going to earn $150, or that goes out to be the $150 is $1,800 a year, okay? Now, just you and your 3 people is now putting an extra $250 a month in your pocket, $1,800 here, $1,200 here, so that's putting another $3,000 every year in your pocket. What would that extra $3,000 a year mean to you and your family? Again, I keep asking that question because I want it to keep coming back. Now, when I said find 3 people that are willing to do what you're willing to do, that means that they're going to sell 500 points through their store. Now, there's, again, so many different ways how they can generate those points. On average, on the beauty side, doing parties, and now we have the get-togethers, and pretty soon we'll have BU parties and you know, the hydration parties. We're going to have all of these themed parties that makes it so that people can go out and do parties if that's something that they want to do. On average, on the Jamboree side, a party was running around $400 in sales, okay? So to get to that 500 points, really you could do that with 2 parties a month if you were hosting 2 parties a month, which is, I think, is fabulous, okay? So those 3 people are going to do exactly what you're willing to do. So those 3 people, go get 3 people. So now that's 9. 9 people at the 500 equals 4,500 points, okay? So that's your 4,500 points. 4,500 points, and then our comp plan is at 9%. So 9% at 4,500, I've got some cheat sheets here, is an additional $405 a month, or that is $4,860 a year. So monthly, with those 9, those 3, and you, So you're at 13 people, all doing the 500 store sales. You're at 405 plus the 150 plus the 100. Now you're at 555 plus 100. So you're $655. Now, just with those 13 people, what would an additional $650 mean to you and your family this month? If you just stopped right there, what would an additional $650 mean to you and your family? Car payments, insurance, there's so many different things that $600 could mean to you and your family. Now think about that one stat that I shared a little while ago. 90% of Americans could not afford a $400 emergency without the use of a credit card. Now you've got $650 coming in with just 13 people, okay? Take that to the next level, okay? Those 9, go get 3, because that's what we're talking about is duplication here. Those 9, go get 3. Now you're at 27. 27 at the 500 equals 13,000. Sorry. You're at 13,500 in total points. That's at 6%. So now you're at $810 a month, or $9,720 a month with the 27. So you got 27, 9, 3, and you. That's 40 people. Those 40 people are going to help you. You're going to have 20,000 points, team points. That's going to be $1,465 a month, or $17,580 annually. Okay. Now, again, I said 18,000. That's going to come from the difference between your wholesale and retail. That's going to be well more than your $18,000 a month. But now you did it with 40 people by focusing on 500 points and 3 people, just those 2 numbers. And I'm going to challenge you, because 500 points seems like a huge number selling through your personal store. But when you look at what these products mean to you and your family, and you start to see the benefits from them, you know, the beauty side, you've got Reveal, you've got lacquer strips, you've got the nail wraps, you've got, so many wonderful things. We've got the official launch of the lacquer strips coming up here shortly in this quarter. You've got, so many different things. Or on the wellness side, right? The BU and all of the lives that are already changing with that, the gut health. I can't even tell you how many testimonials that I heard in the UK just coming from the gut health. Sarah Martin shared a perfect one about that. She said, it's incredible. It's like the days are brighter. I feel so much more energy. I'm sleeping better. All of that just with the gut health products, right? The sticks, Core AO. Every day, I guarantee you, there's not a day that goes by that there's not a testimonial that comes across my desk with somebody that has a benefit from the Core AO. So when we start talking about the personal, what these products mean to us personally and for our families, Jay and Corby Birmingham, they're on our advisory board. They spend over 500 points on products just for their family alone every single month, because they know what those products mean for them. Sometimes I think when we look at that 500 points, it's a daunting task, right? Like, how am I going to do that? But when we get out there and we start sharing these products with people, and we see what those products mean to people in their lives, and we start to hear those testimonials, and we share those testimonials, it will spread like wildfire. Just like, I shared with Joe Mellings, his team, a lot of them are excited about the BU product, right? And they're having a lot of benefits and success from those, and they're sharing some of those testimonials, which we're creating a testimonial video, which we'll share with you guys shortly on that product. So 500 points, when we start talking about our personal consumption, we start talking about customers and people that are wanting to come be a part of that, it's going to spread like wildfire. And it's, again, we have to be able to OYM, right? Open your mouth. We have to be willing to OYM, open our mouths and share these products with people through our 8 ways of selling. And then 3, we're focused on finding 3 people that are willing to do what we're willing to do. Now, there might be people that will come and they'll say, yes, I'm willing to do that. And then for whatever reason, they're not willing to chase their dreams or their goals or whatever. And then they stop working, right? Your goal is to consistently have 3 people that are focusing on getting to the 500 points that will help you do that. So we can replace those people if that happens, right? Everybody has their own speed. Everyone has their own course of life and actions and so on and so forth. We have that ability. So 500 points, 3 people, an extra 18,000 a year, or an extra 1,465 a month, plus those retail sales that are going to come in from that. What would that mean to you and your family? Let's say you did half of that, right? Let's say you got $700 a month coming in. That's rent, that's mortgage, that's paying off credit cards, student loans, it's putting food on the table, it's putting your kids in private schools, or whatever it is. Maybe it's a family vacation, right? All of those things all add up. It's all dollars and cents. It's all numbers. And sometimes numbers can be scary or confusing or frustrating. Do not let that scare you. Do not let that stop you. You have an opportunity right here to take your business, create a legacy, create a business, create a future, create all those things that are available to you. And I just want to say, on behalf of me and everybody here at corporate, we just want to thank you so much for being a part of NAU. Thank you for going out there and representing this brand and helping people live a better life by creating a better you. God bless you. Make it a great week. Thank you for joining us for this week's business training call, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.